Reality TV has ruined television. I remember there was a time where there were so many cool sitcoms on TV. Now we really don't have any. We had Martin, Fresh Prince, Family Matters, Living Single, so many cool shows that we can actually watch. And now television is full of reality shows. If you think about the best sitcom of all time, I'm pretty sure you're going to think about a sitcom that came out in the 90s. My favorite one was by far Martin. Like, the cool thing about that is that this guy played pretty much 10 different characters on the show. We have Shanae, we got Jerome, we got Roscoe, Dragonfly Jones, we got Mama Payne. What else he had? He had so many different characters that he played, and some people can't even play one character good. And him to do a whole show while he's playing legit 10 different characters, that's just amazing. And I don't think that's something that's going to be replicated very easily. Nobody can play 10 characters in a TV show and to make it funny. You know, it's not like he's just doing characters randomly and it's not funny. Like, every character that he did, there was a purpose for that character and it was cool. I mean, the show's dynamics were so cool. Him and Pam arguing about everything when it's supposed to be your fiance's best friend. We got Bruh Man from the fifth floor always coming in and stealing something. It was just a great show. My favorite episode had to be the one where he had that dog. So if y'all haven't seen that one, like, he thought somebody stole his CD player and he had a dog, a fake dog, and he was actually using his dog to attack his friends, which was kind of funny because, like, when I actually did research on that episode, it was supposed to actually have a real dog, but the real dog, they couldn't get in time, so somebody put a fake dog on the set, and Martin just basically just improv that whole scene, which was cool. And they do that throughout the whole show. Like, if you actually watch the show, they're sitting there laughing at the jokes people are saying because they've been basically improv it, which was cool. I don't think there's never going to be a show like that. That show was an amazing show. And the reason why I don't think we're ever going to have a show like that ever again is because reality TV has taken over. Everybody wants to be nosy and in people's business. That reality shows are going to continue to strive, and we're never going to be able to get somebody that's going to be creative to make their own show because nobody's attention span is going to sit on there. They rather be nosy. So that's what I'm talking about this episode. It's going to be about minding your business. But before I get too deep into that, I want to first introduce myself. My name is Jelan Abrams, and this is the Unknown and Talented Podcast. So reality TV has ruined a lot. So it has not only ruined TV, where we're not going to get sitcoms like Martin ever again, but it's also ruined where our attention span goes. So us as humans, we are nosy by nature. I remember my nephew when he was first born. I'm sitting here in my phone. He's an infant. He don't know what's going on, but he's always trying to get in my phone to see what I'm doing on it. Nosy. You know what I'm saying? Even till now, as adults, we still have that in us to be nosy, to always want to see what someone else is doing. So a perfect example of this is when we're driving on a highway and there's an accident. Y'all all know when there's an accident, traffic is piled up for miles and miles and miles. And then when you actually get past what actually was the holdup, it was because people were nosy and slowing down to see what happened with the accident. They're already on the side of the road. They're already safe. Ambulance, cops, everybody there. But everybody's slowing down because they want to find out what's going on. And it's funny, one day I was going to work and there was an accident and everybody slowed up. And I saw the accident on the side of the road and we had to get out the way so, you know, we can get to the left lane because the accident was in the right lane and nobody could pass them because they were legit just had the accident. And the crazy thing when I think about being nosy is that someone in the far left lane, so I'm in the, let's say, third lane, they're in the fourth lane. They're driving, they're slowing up to pay attention to what's going on with the accident. A guy ended up ramming in the back of somebody's car. to the point where the person, I guess their dad came out the car. He's an older man. He's upset. He's like, yo, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? The person driving came out the car all upset. Like, what are you doing? And it's like, they hit them because they were being nosy, because they wanted to pay attention to the side of the road instead of paying attention to what's right in front of them. And that's something that we do every day. We pay attention to reality TV or celebrities on the Shade Room and stuff, what they're doing, and all your energy and attention is going to them, and you have a goal or a destination that you need to get to in front of you, and you can't even do that because all your attention is going towards them. But I understand why we do this. Reality TV is extremely addicting. I remember when I was first introduced to it, I was introduced to Real World. So if you've never seen Real World, I don't think it's on now, but basically what it was, they got 7 random people, they got them in a house, and they legit just living. Like, they're going out and partying, and they're just living. The only difference is they have cameras all over the place, and now you get to see what they're doing. If it's anybody beefing, you know, they're fighting, and, you know, I mean, it's so many different things. But it was a cool thing to watch because by nature, like I stated, we are all nosy. So now we have a TV show where we could be nosy in strangers' lives, where you have the camera seeing everything. It was something that, you know, we wanted to see. I even think about A Flavor of Love. Like, that show that's a classic show. So if you've never seen that show, it's basically a competition for the love of Flav. Like, all girls are going to be on this show, do different contests and stuff, and then Flavor Flav is going to end up picking who he wants to be with on the end of the show. It was crazy because Flavor Flav, listen, no judgment, but the guy looks crazy. I'm sorry. Like, I know I said I wasn't going to judge him, but Flavor Flav looks crazy. And for all, I think he had like 20 women on the show. For all these 20 women to really be for Flav is like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You know, like, come on. Come on now. But it was entertaining because you see these people do all these crazy things to try to get Flavor Flav. And it's like, Flavor Flav is not like the Bachelor that everybody will run to for him to have a show with 20 women, beautiful women as that, to try to get his attention. It was kind of crazy, but it was definitely entertaining. Because if you think about it, they have so many different reality TV shows. I'm pretty sure there's a show that you probably wanted to be a part of. So really think about it. Think about what reality show you wish you were on. For me, it was Survivor. I just love the activities. Like, you had to know how to swim. I know how to swim. Strategy. I love strategy. I love, you know, communicating and doing things like that. I don't know if I would have won the $1 million at the end of the day, but that's something I would definitely love to at least try. And that's kind of how these reality TV shows get you stuck, is because you're watching these people kind of interact with everybody else, and you just kind of put yourself in that mode of like, what would I do in that situation? And then now you get addicted because this is stuff that you really can't do in real life, but you're watching them and you visualizing yourself in that moment. So the bad thing about this kind of leads to like escapism. So you're watching these TV shows to escape your own reality. So you're watching reality TV because your reality is not something you enjoy. So you rather watch them living their life, enjoying their life, and feeling like that's you. You actually accomplished something when you really didn't accomplish anything. So now I want to get a little deeper in caring about other people's lives. So we're not going to really talk anymore about reality TV shows. We kind of hit that on the head. But if you're not addicted to reality TV shows, you might be addicted to other people's lives. For the most part, everybody's on some kind of social media platform. Think about, if you're an old head, you're on Facebook. They got Instagram. They got TikTok. They have all these social media platforms which kind of amplify focusing on other people's lives. There are some people that don't post anything but know everything you got going on. I remember talking to one of my friends I haven't seen in a while, and they're telling me everything about me, and I'm like, I didn't even know we were friends on Instagram. Like, I didn't even know we followed each other. And you know my entire life. That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't be on Instagram just out here looking at people's Instagram and just being nosy, not liking nothing, but you know they like come on now. Like you really need to do better. Like that's weird. Like that sounds like some kind of stalking, creepy type mess. You know everybody's life. Like, oh man, congratulations on getting married. But wait a minute, how'd you know that? You know, telling me stuff about myself that I didn't even know, because you a creep. So definitely don't do that. If that's my advice. If you are one of those people that follow people and you don't like nothing, if you end up seeing that person in person, don't tell them you know anything about them. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, how's everything going? Let them tell you at that point, and then congratulate them. Don't just come out of nowhere, congratulate them with everything, because now you're a weirdo. Now I might have to block you because you know a little bit too much for me not to know that you know too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. So the downside of focusing on other people's lives is that it's time consuming. Right now, I'm recording this podcast. I could have been on Instagram right now just scrolling. So you're using all your free time worrying about what everybody else got going on, and you're not going to be able to do what you have to do. For example, going back to that accident I saw on the road, the guy is focusing on what they got going on, and right in front of him is a car. He ended up hitting it. You know, so you're spending all your attention on other people scrolling on social media. You have a situation in front of you that you can't handle because you're focusing elsewhere. I think about seeing someone on the side of the road, they need help. Let's say they got a flat tire or something like that. You go over there to help them, but your gas is on E. That's counterproductive. Now you're going over there to help this person, to make sure everything is cool with them, but your tank's on E. You about to be on the side of the road by yourself in a minute because you're not focusing on yourself. So that's one thing you want to do to be more productive in yourself is, I always say get rid of social media, but don't get rid of social media. Just spend less time focusing on what everybody else got going on, because your life could be in shambles, but you're taking your time to focus on other people. So another example of focusing on yourself first is flight attendants. Not sure the last time you went flying, but I recently went to Mexico. So what flight attendants are going to do before the plane actually takes off, they're going to tell you what to do in the case of emergency. So they're going to tell you under your seat, we have the life jacket just in case we go over water. And then they also talk about the oxygen mask. If the oxygen mask comes down, they always say, put the mask on yourself first before you help others. The reason why they say this is because when we have limited air, you're not going to be able to think right. So you have the energy to try to put it on someone else. At that point, you're not going to have the energy to put it on yourself. And if you don't get it on that other person clearly, you might end up passing out, and then y'all both are in trouble. So it's always focus on yourself first. Put the mask on yourself first before you help others. So you don't want to make sure your mind is all over the place, thinking about everybody else's problems, thinking about how you can solve everybody else's problems and not worrying about yourself. That's when you become in trouble. So take the advice of the flight attendants. Put the mask on yourself first before you try to help anybody else. And one way to accomplish this is by setting boundaries. When I grew up, I was definitely the kind of person that if anybody needed anything, I wanted to make sure that I was there to be able to support them. And what happened to me is that I was helping everybody and not accomplishing anything for myself. So I didn't learn that until I got older. Like, Jelan, you have to really put yourself first, because not putting yourself first, you might help this person out and they might be happy for that moment, but you're not going to be happy. Like, you might be happy for that person, but then they're going to go ahead and live their life. And then for you, you're not going to be happy because the things you want to accomplish, nothing got done, but you're able to help someone else out. Because helping someone else out is never really helping them. You're more being a crutch to them. Anytime they're in trouble, they're going to come to you because they know you're going to be there. For example, let's say someone asks you to borrow money every single Friday. You keep giving them money, you keep giving them money. Now they're never gonna be able to get their own money. You know, everybody knows the saying, give a man a fish, you're gonna eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you're gonna eat, forever. That's kind of the mindset when someone continuously asks you for favors or continuously asks you to do stuff. You can't continuously do that because now they're looking at you as their line of support. It's like anytime they're in trouble, I know I can call on them because they don't got nothing to do anyway. And that's not what it is. You want to make sure that you let the person know that if you can, or if you're in the mindset to help somebody, of course, do that. But if not, don't put yourself in danger because you're out here trying to help someone else and then you end up not achieving what you want to achieve. So the last thing I want to leave y'all with is a quote. Comparison is the thief of joy. So when I started this episode, I was talking about reality TV. I was talking about social media, how paying attention to other people's lives kind of hinder you from actually achieving what you want to do in your life. And another example of doing that is comparing yourself or your life to someone else's life. Comparison is natural. When a baby's born, they have them on the percentile of how tall they are compared to other babies. Oh, your child's in the 13th percentile, and you're like, oh my gosh, my child about to be tall. Your child's in the 40 percentile, my child about to be short. So coming out the womb, you're already being compared to other people. You're in school, they tell you, oh, you're this number in your class, you're this smart. This many people got A's. Everything you do, you're always compared. You think about your job, about how good someone else is doing compared to what you're doing. You're always comparing yourself to someone else. But it's not a healthy thing because if you're on the bottom of the totem pole of comparisons and everybody's above you, now you feel like you're behind. Or if you're all the way at the top and you're compared to people that aren't on your level, now you're thinking you're better than you really are. So it's like both ways is really not suitable. What you want to really do is compare yourself to the person that you are. Compare yourself to who you were last month, who you were last week, who you were last year. That's how you can become better. But comparing yourself to other people, you don't know the full story. You don't know what they did to get where they are. Me, for example, I just got married. I got a house. People could look at me and be like, man, you got it going on. Man, I'm so jealous. But they didn't see that I was single for basically my entire life. I met my girlfriend, my wife, my gosh, I'm sorry. I met my wife when I was 30, right? Jeez. Yeah. Well, I met my wife when I was 30 years old. Before that, I was single. So for 30 years, I was single. Now I'm married. I got a house. Like, man, you're so lucky, man. So 30 years of my life, I was by myself. You know what I'm saying? Nobody said, oh, man, you're so lucky, this and that. I spent 30 years single to get where I am today. So it's not like, oh, man, I'm so behind. Oh, man, Jelan got all this stuff going on. It's just timing. You might been dating a bunch of people and you're not married, but you still got to enjoy dating a bunch of people. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it from different ways. Your time to get married might not be 30, might be 35, might be, who knows what it is, but it's just crazy. When I was in those single stages of not having anybody, I'm like, man, I'm not going to get married till I'm 50. Like basically that was my mindset because I'm comparing myself to other people, comparing myself to someone that was dating their whole life, that's married and, having kids. And I'm like, I'm so far away from this, but I wasn't. It's all about God's timing. We think we're on our time, our timeline. I want to do this by this age, this by that age. You're on social media, you're seeing all these people do all these things that you're dreaming in your mind. It's not your time, and it's never your time. And that's a very dangerous thing to go on social media because social media is the highlight reel. It's going to basically show what everybody's doing. Like I just went on Facebook before I came on here. The first post that I saw somebody's getting engaged. That's the first post. I logged right off after that because I'm like, why I'm on Facebook anyway. But that's the first post that I saw going on there. And you thinking that you want to be engaged, you want to be married, and anytime you're looking at someone else or looking on Facebook or Instagram and you're seeing all these things that you strive to have and you feel like, you're behind, it's okay. Like, you don't have to feel like you're behind. Like I said, it's all God's timing. And I realized at an early age that instead of being jealous of that person, be happy for that person. It's your time. I always, when I see someone do something or accomplish something, I congratulate them, put it on my stories. Like, even though that's something that I probably wanted or I aspired to have, it's enough to go around. I think that's something that you have to realize, that it's enough to go around. There's only a finite number of billionaires in this world. This person that that might have 100,000 and you're jealous of that person, it's enough to go around. You can get your 100,000 too. The millionaires next to you that is a million out there for you as well. You just have to work and get it. You have to get away from following all these people on social media, watching nothing but reality TV shows, thinking that their life is better than yours. You have to get away from that and be focused on what your goal is to be able to get where you want to get to. Because if you have your mind with the blinders on, focusing on yourself, you won't even have time to compare yourself to someone else because you're focusing on what you got to do. A thing that you have to realize is that you have to be okay with your imperfections. If y'all been listening to these podcast episodes with me, y'all know I'm a stutter. I might say the wrong word. I might say wrong words out the wrong order. This camera, sometimes my face is blurry because I don't have it focused right. I might have a bunch of static in this mic. But I realized that I can't focus on being perfect. It's crazy how many people that I talk to that I actually know personally that actually say, hey, Jelan, I like this episode that you talked about this. Listening to this episode really helped me. And me looking at these other people, these big platforms with hundreds and thousands of followers, thinking that I want to be like them, it's like, I want to be like me. I want to make sure that I'm making this better than the last episode, because people that I personally know might look up to me or might be inspired by me and are listening to these to help change their life. I can't always compare myself to them over there or try to be perfect and then not actually just do this. When I'm focusing on all these people and realizing that this might not be as good as that other podcast and don't put anything out, the person that's looking up to me or the person that's looking at this podcast to motivate them or to inspire them to do something, I'm doing them a disservice by not recording this and doing the best I can do. Jelan Abrams, not the best anyone else can do, just doing the best that Jelan Abrams could do. If I do what I have to do, that's going to help them do what they have to do. So I listen to Eric Thomas's podcast a lot, and Jamal King is on that podcast. And one thing that he said that really stuck out to me, he said, one man's obedience is tied to so many other people's destiny. And when I think about that quote, I think about you. I think about your obedience to what your mission is and what you need to accomplish in life is tied to other people fulfilling their destiny. I'm obedient with recording this podcast, doing the best job I can do, not trying to be anybody else, put jokes in here like anybody else, facts in here like anybody else. I'm just being 100% me, Jelan Abrams, and me being obedient to that, putting out the best podcast I can possibly put out. And it's 100% me, not being anybody else or trying to be like anybody's podcast, but trying to be like my podcast is going to help other people fulfill their destiny. Like I said, so many people say they listen to this podcast that I personally know and it helps them. I have to be obedient and do the best I can. And you have to do the best you can and be obedient to what your mission is. Like I said in the beginning, reality TV is fun. It's cool to watch, but having your attention on anything else other than the mission, you're not going to be able to reach your goal. So that's pretty much all I got for y'all today. Just make sure that you're not like that guy checking out the accident, you hitting the back of somebody's car because you focused on something else that has nothing to do with you. Focus on you, keep your mind on your mission, be obedient to that mission, accomplish it, and you never know whose life you're changing by just doing what you're supposed to be doing and focusing on what you're supposed to be focusing on. But like I said, that's pretty much it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Make sure y'all like, y'all comment, subscribe, leave some stuff in the comments if y'all got this far, because my comments is like not popping right now. Like nobody leaves no comments in there. So come on, leave some comments in there. And yeah, that's it. My name is Jelan Abrams. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Unknown and Talented. See you next week.